Right, the dividend is also in the region of 50 cents for the likes of me. I don't need 50 cents.
But John, you see, you are investing in a company for the long term.
Right.
So you can enjoy the capital gains,
Right.
and also
Right.
you can enjoy a regular income,
Right.
if you so wish, by keeping your money in the company. So your investment appreciates over a period of time, and in between, in the interim, you're getting paid a dividend.
Right. I mean, do excuse me, I was in a way sort of setting you up to give an explanation that might appeal so that people might want to learn more. But
Yes.
we can't devote our entire program in a sort of agitprop lesson on the workings of the stock exchange. So people can appreciate what you've said and we must move on. I'm trying to suggest let's slightly be more critical here and say that in other societies, again, we hear of massive abuses, the corruption. What is the transparency? What is the fact that I'm just giving my money away for people to grow rich in their own time and space?
Well, John, one, you're not just giving away your money for other people to grow rich. You are investing in a company that's
right. Okay,
listed.
fine. I've heard about the investment. I'm saying the system is open to abuse.
Yes.
There are many institutions in our land which have been abused, which on paper sound wonderful. I'm not going to name names, but I'm trying to suggest that the Nairobi Securities Exchange might be amongst their number.
Well, John, we've learned from the past. So now, when you have a CDS account and there's a transaction in your CDS account, the account through which your shares are deposited when you buy, or the account through which your shares are debited when you sell, you can get an SMS alert directly from the CDS, not from your stockbroker, not from anybody else.
To remind of CDS meaning?
The Central Depository and Settlement Corporation.
Right.
So, as I said previously,
Right. So there is a regulatory body.
Yes, the CDS is the body. It's a separate institution, standalone institution, which holds the securities accounts.
Right.
For all participants.
Right. Again, understandable.
Yes.
I'm going to move on to this idea of the small man.
Yes.
So this is, you've mentioned Kenya breweries, you've
Yes.
mentioned small, medium enterprises in your jargon world, SMEs. Where do they stand to gain in all this? What if I am Mama Mboga? What if I am not on the same, I'm not flying, from here to Beijing and London every single day with people paying huge airfares?
Well, two things. Let's separate the investor.
Right.
So as I said before, Mama Mboga is able to invest
Yes,
in
right.
the stock exchange.
Yes, yes.
Now, an SME is able to use the stock exchange
Right, but
to raise capital,
Right, right.
to invest in the business.
Am I not right in saying that in January you set up a particular mechanism targeting SMEs?
Yes.
Explain it, if you will. But I'm also going to say that my research has revealed that since January nobody signed up to it.
Well, you're talking about the growth enterprise market segment,
Right.
which we launched on January 22nd, 2013 to be exact. Now, the way the growth enterprise market segment works is that you need a nominated advisor. A nominated advisor is the representative of the company who will ensure that the company's documentation, the company's corporate governance systems are in order and helps the company to list on GEMS. So we launched GEMS on January 22nd, 2013, and since then we have registered 14 nominated advisors. Now, the nominated advisors are going out into the market to look for potential clients to list on GEMS. And just
So
today...
in other words, don't call me, I'll call you. You were going to sort of say you are fit to join us. In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, there are listing criteria for GEMS, and the company which is supposed to list on GEMS has to meet this criteria. remember, John, we are trying also to protect the investor on this other side.
I understand.
Yes. So the nominated advisor looks at the GEMS company, make sure that management are competent, make sure that the directors know their obligations as it suits a company that is about to go public with public shareholders, and then introduces the company to list on GEMS by making an application to the Nairobi Securities Exchange and the Capital Markets Authority.
Right. Africa-wide, we were saying that we are number 5.
Yes.
Again, to the layman's understanding, does that mean that Kenya is the 5th richest country on the continent? Therefore they're number 5. Is that a way of thinking?
Well, John, when we were ranking the stock exchanges, so we're number 5 in terms of, if you look at the value of all the shares listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, our value is the 5th largest. The first is South Africa, second is Nigeria, third is Morocco, fourth is Egypt, and then we follow as number 5.
And would you go so far as to say who number 6 is?
I will make a guess, but I think it's Tunisia.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Now, so we're doing well. And we started off by saying we're thinking all these things, Africa at 50, Jubilee government 5 years, Millennium Development Goals, Vision 2030. Are we deluding ourselves that we really are an economy that is a regional hub, or does this just make us feel good about ourselves?
Well, John, one way of looking at it is look at the number of multinational companies that are setting up their East and Central Africa offices in Nairobi. I'll talk about the financial services sector. In this week, we heard that JP Morgan, which is a global investment bank, is looking for a license, is going to apply for a license to set up a representative office in Nairobi. HSBC, another global bank, has set up a representative office in Nairobi. There are a number of large state Indian banks who have also set up their regional offices in Nairobi. I think this is testament to the fact that Nairobi, and by extension Kenya, is considered the biggest economy in the region, and multinationals who want to be active in this region think they're best suited by setting up their regional headquarters.
Right. We're talking about the East African community in the same breath. So
Yes.
there's a sort of a basic contradiction in terms. We want to be a community of now expanding, but 5 nations and growing to South Sudan. And at the same time, we're focusing on individual successes. What are we doing to have a presence that makes us regional players as opposed to just Kenyan players?
Well, our banks are expanding into the region. KCB, Equity Bank, CBA have all expanded into the region. And recently, and I speak about these companies because they're listed, recently they said that their listed subsidiaries, that is KCB, has helped to build the bottom line. So they're beginning to generate a lot of profits from their regional subsidiaries. So our businesses are becoming more East African. KCB as well is listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange, the Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange, and the Rwanda Stock Exchange, which allows citizens of Rwanda, of Tanzania, and Uganda to buy its shares on their stock exchanges. And we, as the stock exchanges, the East African stock exchanges, are looking to eventually provide a trading platform. So if you are Tanzanian, through a Tanzanian broker, you can buy shares listed in Nairobi or Uganda or Rwanda, And even from Nairobi, you can buy shares listed in Rwanda, Tanzania, or Uganda.
Time is not on our side. We began by saying that you're going to go online by the end of this year. And this leads us to perhaps the last question, which is, what does the future hold? Go from going online, why online, and thereafter to as many years as you might be able to predict.
I think the future is very bright, John. One of the reasons we are going online is to provide increased access. So
I don't understand that, because you said you were trading online already. So this is online 2, online 3, online 4?
Well, what I mean is, John, currently the trading system is electronic, and the process of crediting your shares account is also electronic. But what I'm now saying is the next stage is to enable you to use the internet to give instructions to your broker or to give instructions to the trading system to buy or sell shares. That will happen in the fourth quarter of this year. So you could be a Kenyan investor in
I understand.
abroad,
Right.
and you'll be able to use it or even in
So the reach
Kisumu
is
County.
going to be expanded phenomenally.
Exactly, yes, yes. And not just for Kenyan investors, but also for East African investors. And also allow Kenyan investors to buy and sell shares listed in the other markets. And also companies will be able to, the government particularly, and companies like KenGen, Kenya Power, will be able to use the capital markets to raise financing for infrastructure projects. So we don't have power cuts, as we recently did, so we can build and maintain our roads, so we can build bigger airports to support our economy growing further.
Donald Ouma, Head of Market and Product Development, Nairobi Securities Exchange. Thank you very much for coming on the JSO interview.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.